Darling, I need you to listen carefully tonight, because I finally wrote the wedding vows you weren't supposed to see. And if you hear them now, everything between us could change. When I wrote them, I never thought these words would leave the page. I thought they'd stay hidden, waiting for the right day, the right time. But something inside me pushed me to open them tonight. Maybe because I can't carry them alone anymore. Imagine reading words that were meant for the most important moment of your life, but seeing them before that day comes. Would you be ready? These vows aren't just promises, they're confessions. They hold secrets I've been keeping from you, truths I've never said out loud. And once I share them, you'll see a side of me I've been too afraid to show. I wrote about the first time I realized I loved you. Not when I said it out loud, but when I felt it so strongly that even silence couldn't hide it. I wrote about the nights I stayed awake, afraid I'd lose you before I even had the chance to call you mine. And I wrote about a choice I made for you, one that could have cost me everything. What if vows are not just about love, but about sacrifices someone never told you they made? Would you still look at them the same way? I hid these pages because I wasn't ready for you to know the weight of what I carry. But now it feels like hiding them is worse than the risk of letting you read. My hand shakes even holding them, because these vows don't just promise a future, they explain my past. Darling, if you hear them, you'll finally understand why I've been so protective, why I've watched over you even when you didn't see me standing close. You'll know why I sometimes seemed distant, like my mind was far away, because every decision I made was tied to one truth. I couldn't let anything touch you. Vows are supposed to start with, I promise, but mine start with, I confess, and that's what makes them dangerous. I wrote, I confess I loved you before I had the right to. I confess I kept something from you, not because I wanted to, but because the truth would have scared you. And I confess that even if the world stands against us, I'll still say yes when they ask if I take you as mine. Those words, they weren't meant to reach your ears tonight, but they're here now, and I can't take them back. The question is, will you hear them as love, or will you hear them as betrayal? And darling, this is only the beginning of what I wrote. The deeper pages carry things that could shake the way you see me forever. If I read them to you, nothing will stay the same. When I unfolded the page, the ink felt like a map to places I had never shown you. I wrote things that were heavy and honest. The first paragraph is gentle. Then it pulls like a tide. I start by saying I have been keeping watch, not to control you, to guard you. I tell how I learned, small signs, that danger can be quiet, a paused breath, a phone that buzzes at midnight, an unread message that smells like trouble. I kept my eyes open, so you could sleep. That part of the vow is soft, but it is not small. Imagine someone loving you in the way a guard loves a street lamp, always near, waiting for the dark to pass. Does that comfort you or make you afraid? Then I wrote about a promise I made before I ever asked for your heart. It was a shadow promise, something whispered in a hard room when choices were few. I promised someone I would fix a problem that was not mine by right, because it would protect you. The fix cost time, money, and nights I did not tell you about. I carried that cost like a quiet tax. A debt paid for love can be a kind thing, or it can become a chain. Which will this be for us? On the next page, I admit to a secret meeting. A night when I went alone and came back with my hands colder than before. I do not say everything that happened there on paper. Some things still live better in the dark, but I do say this: I told a lie that night to keep you safe. I do not ask you to forgive the lie yet. I only ask you to hear why I thought it was needed. Lies made to keep someone from harm are a strange kind of love. They can heal or they can hurt, depending on who holds the truth. I wrote about the time I nearly lost myself trying to fix a past mistake that touched you. I stood at a crossroads and chose the painful road. I fixed one thing, and in the doing I broke a small piece of my own life. The vow says, I will mend what I broke, even if it costs me more time. That line is a promise to rebuild, not to hide. Repairs made in the dark need light later. Will the light make us stronger, or show the cracks too wide to fix? There is a page where I list the people I asked for help, not to boast, to show you the circle I built to protect you. Some names are kind, some are dangerous in the way they know how to get things done. I wrote why I trusted each one, and how I paid for their favors. It reads like a ledger of hard choices. Help can be a bridge or a leash. Knowing who helped changes how you see the man who asked. Then I told a short story about a day when you laughed so loud in a small shop that strangers smiled. I watched you and thought, I will give you that joy forever. That is the purest line in the whole book of vows, because it is small and true and without shape of duty. I leave that line there so you know why I carried the hard parts in the first place. The bright, small truths are the reason to weather the dark ones. After that, the vows take a harder turn. I write of a promise I made to myself. If anything ever threatened the life we might have, I would stand in the middle and take the blow first. Not because I want to be a hero, but because I will choose to protect you above my own comfort. I signed that line with a hand that shook. Sacrifice sounds noble on paper, but real sacrifice asks for trust. Will you trust me to take the blows? I say, I will. There is a paragraph about forgiveness. I say, I will ask for it when I need it, and I will give it when you do. I promise to learn how to forgive, not to keep score. That promise is simple but sharp, a rule we will need on long nights. Forgiving is an art. It rebuilds things in ways love alone cannot. Then comes the most dangerous line I put down. I wrote I had once hidden a truth about someone close to you, because I feared the fallout would hurt us both. I say it plainly, I did not want to ruin your life by telling you then. So I held it. Now I put it in the vows, because hiding it longer felt like betrayal. A hidden truth put into a vow is a kind of confession that changes the map of trust. I describe the moment. I plan to give you the ring. My hands will be steady, because I practiced staying calm when everything shook. But I also note in the vows that if you ask for time, I will not push. I will wait. The line is a shield and a promise both. Waiting after a vow is not defeat. It is respect for the size of the choice. On the last pages, there are small lines I wrote to the future we might build. A small list of the habits I will keep: to cook on Sunday, to listen without fixing first, to leave a light on if you are late, to write silly notes that say nothing and everything. Those are the parts I read even now when the heavy things make my chest tight. The little habits are the glue between vows and living them. But the part that made my hand freeze on the pen was the sentence I wrote in the margin, something I never planned to share. A name and a date, tied to a choice I made years ago. It is a key to something old that some people thought they had hidden forever. I wrote it because I wanted the truth on paper before the world put it there for me. Putting a key on a page is an invitation for others to look. Once a name is written, it becomes a path others can follow. I folded the pages and put them in an envelope, but I could not keep them closed. I read them once more and felt both proud and afraid. Pride, because I had learned how to love with hard work. Fear, because I had given you the map to my worst choices. Darling, If you read these vows now, you will find things to love and things to worry about. You will find proofs of devotion and traces of the small wars I fought that you did not ask to be part of. You will learn how much I tried to make our life safe before you even knew it needed saving. Truth is not always easy to carry, but it is the only thing that keeps a house from falling when storms come. And there is one more page I hesitated over. One line I almost tore out. It names a person whose words change the way others see us. I left the name because hiding it felt like letting someone else keep power over our story. But writing it makes the paper heavy with risk. Naming someone puts them into the light. Light can show help, or it can burn. I folded the envelope and put it back in my pocket. My chest felt like a drum. The vows are now a living thing in my hand. They are no longer only for the day we stand before friends and say yes. They are a thing between us now, and that changes everything. When I told you I had written something you weren't meant to see yet, you asked me one simple question. Was it about them? My mouth closed because the name in the margin is the same name that came up in whispers last week. I had to decide in a breath. Tell you the full story now and risk uprooting everything tonight, or keep the rest folded until the day when vows are meant to be heard. When you asked me, was it about them? My whole chest froze. You didn't even say a name, but I knew exactly who you meant. That silence between us was louder than any answer I could have given. I could feel your eyes on me, waiting. My hand slid toward the envelope in my pocket, heavy like it was filled with stone instead of paper. Should I open it and give you everything right now, or should I guard you from what those pages carry? Sometimes love is not about hiding or telling. It's about when you choose to reveal. Timing can save you, or it can ruin you. I whispered,